Hey there, it's Mark from Third Shot Sports. Welcome to this video edition version of our podcast, Pickleball Problems. I sat down with Patrick Sullivan Jr. and Ashley LaRue from Jigsaw Health to talk about Jigsaw in the pickleball world. Yeah, we're going to talk about their products, we're going to talk about their story. We're going to find out why it is they love pickleball so much and why the company has really invested in pickleball and what's going on there. Quick disclaimer, Jigsaw Health is a sponsor of Third Shot Sports. We've worked with them for a couple years now. We've got a business relationship, so just keep that in mind as we have our conversation. And also remember that if you use the promo code PB3SS10 when you're shopping at jigsawhealth.com, you can save yourself $10. That's PB3SS10. All right, let's get to the interview. All right, Patrick Sullivan Jr. and Ashley LaRue, welcome to Pickleball Problems.
What's up, Mark?
Thank you for having us. We are thrilled to be here.
I'm really happy to have you here in person. I see you on Facebook. You're doing things. I've seen you, of course, in the different commercials, the Jigsaw commercials that many people will be familiar with. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But the first thing I want to start with is I saw something on social media recently. I know usually it's a phone like, And this was a picture. This was like a live action picture of you two on the pickleball court. And there was a caption below referencing some sort of medal winning that happened during a recent pickleball tournament. Is this true?
Well, we only accept gold medals. That's all we win.
Well, only because we've only played tournaments. But one time we did not accept the gold medal because we did not earn one.
Not that time.
But this was our first one, and it was very fun. And we were pretty excited.
We played in a tournament in Red Mountain, the Red Mountain Classic. Organized by wonderful tournament director Ryan Treffry. We played in the 4-0 mixed doubles round robin cash game, and we won the whole thing.
Yeah, we had to battle our way. We were not undefeated. We'll put it that way. But yeah. We kept taking our pickleball cocktail and our electrolytes and getting plenty of snacks along the way. So 6 hours later, we had a picture as gold medal winners, and it was very fun.
And now you retire as champions and move on with the rest of your life.
Yeah, we hung up the paddles. We're never playing again.
Well, it's really exciting to see that. And I guess people don't always know the people behind a company, right? They see the branding, they see the sponsored players, they see the commercials, but they don't always know the people who are involved. And so I'm really excited to dig in a little bit and to help share with our audience to unpack this a little bit. And can you say something about, like, how did Jigsaw Health get into pickleball? Because unlike some of the other companies that we see in the pickleball world, Jigsaw Health didn't start as a company like attached to pickleball, right? It started sort of as its own company doing its own thing, and then there was that connection with pickleball. And can you say something about how that connection happened? What is it that drew Jigsaw Health and you two in particular to the sport?
Well, my dad and I started Jigsaw in April of 2005. So we're celebrating our 16th birthday this month. My dad is the formulator, the mad scientist really behind all of our products. And then Ashley and I run the operations and really the marketing and all the rest of the things with the awesome team that we have here in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was the summer of 2018 that Ashley and I were in Flagstaff, and she said, "Hey, I want to try out this game called pickleball." And my answer was, "Pickle what?" And we borrowed some paddles. We went out onto the court, and I had played a little bit of tennis growing up. Ashley had never played any racket sports growing up, but there we were hitting the pickleball back and forth across the net to each other. And it was like,
fun right away.
Super fun. And we were like, well, how do we play more of this? So we went to open play the next day. We went to the beginners and we were like, hey, we've never played before, but we, watched a couple of videos. In fact, I'm sure Third Shot Sports videos were some of the first videos that we watched about trying to understand the rules. I mean, I remember watching a Mark Renneson video to try and figure out what the heck the continental grip was. Right. And your video on stacking that you did years ago, I was like, why are some people stacking? What is going on? So thank you, Mark, for your content that you've put out into the world. It certainly helped me before you ever heard my name or Jigsaw Health. Fast forward to summer of 2019, and we went to an event, the first Pickleball held in Encinitas, California at Bobby Riggs. And there was 250 people. There were about 10, maybe 12 pros that were there. And it was like a 3-day pickleball jamboree.
And we had a little booth there when we were giving out samples of electrolytes just to see how it would be received. And we ended up sending the pros, most of the pros that we met there, home with some products. And it was funny because a couple weeks later, we were getting texts back from them saying, hey, how do I get more of this stuff? This is really helping me. And so we just kind of started to think about it. Gosh, I mean, this is such a grueling format, like especially the tournament format, but even just rec play, because people don't want to stop playing and people are cramping and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to find a good quality sugar-free option for electrolytes. So we saw an opportunity there, and we'd fallen in love with the community and the sport. So we thought, how fun would this be if we could incorporate it into what we're already doing? So that's kind of the story.
So yeah, it's a great story. And in some ways it really connects with the kinds of sort of origin stories that many people have with pickleballs. Like they find it one day, they go out, they have some instant, like some amount of success, right? They can rally back and forth, they figure out their group and they go in. And then I guess where it's different is that you two then had the opportunity to also kind of make this connection between your sort of like personal recreational lives with then your professional lives, right? And to make that connection, which not everyone is able to do, which I think is like a really neat, is it fair to say that it's almost accidental?
Yes.
You know, like they were on these two tracks and that are separate, and then just at some point accidentally they kind of converge.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because we also had a similar experience with our musical career. We had been professional musicians in a cover band playing 52 to 55 events per year while running Jigsaw simultaneously. And eventually we started to say, we could do some musical marketing type of stuff with Jigsaw. And then the world started to collide there. And now we do a lot of musical marketing videos and fun commercials that we use that side of our selves, you know, and we just brought it into Jigsaw. So it's like, you know, why not?
In other words, life is a journey filled with one accident after another.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, to me, it's a really nice example of, you know, sometimes you hear about people who are trying to get on some sort of endeavor and they're trying to figure out, okay, here's this box over here. How do I fit myself into that box? Whereas, you know, the way that you're describing kind of the way that your connection with pickleball was almost like, okay, well, there is no box out here, or there doesn't have to be a box. And how can we use the things like our interests, our strengths, and how can we sort of make that work rather than kind of conforming to however things are sort of supposed to be done, right, in a normal way.
Yeah, I think Jigsaw as a business, really thanks to my dad for creating these awesome formulas. Jigsaw as a business has been like in search of a tribe to be a part of for 15 years, because we sort of grew up marketing to online through direct response marketing and in the healthcare practitioner market. So a lot of our products are actually sold at doctors' offices. Most pickleballers wouldn't know that. But the thing that I felt as the leader, as the CEO, is I was like, you know, there's a great author, great marketing author named Seth Godin. He writes a book called Tribes, and it's all about like, you know, do you need to be a part of a tribe? And I was like, what is our tribe? And it was funny. Years ago, there was a triathlete, a pro triathlete that's like kind of big time at our office. And he's like, you guys, you need to get into triathlons. Like your products work so good. There's so many people out here that you could be a part of. And I was like, well, the problem is I don't like to run. Triathlons is not a tribe I want to be a part of. I can't be authentic in that. But once we found pickleball and started playing it, and it's almost like the linchpin that unlocked it was the summer of 2019, we changed our tagline of Jigsaw Health from the magnesium people, because magnesium is a mineral that we have a lot of expertise in. We changed it from the magnesium people to it's fun to feel good. Ashley came up with that phrase. She coined that. And we were like, you know what? Is there a more fun game on the planet than pickleball?
No. Not to us.
Not to us. And we don't care if there is one, because we found it. We found what we loved to do. So it is sort of a happy coincidence, a happy accident that we signed some pros. We became the exclusive and official nutrition sponsors of both the pro tours, PPA and APP. So being able to work with the tours, being able to work with the pros was just a great way, a big way to get started. And I mean, we were learning as we went, and there still are. But after sort of a year, it's been really, really exciting. It's been really fun. We've developed some great relationships, and we just feel like we're with the right tribe now.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of those two tours, the APP tour and the PPA tour, of which Jigsaw is a main sponsor, that's where many people will see the commercials, right? These fun commercials that you make. They're creative, they're fun. They almost always involve music. They also involve many of the sort of like top tier pros, right? If we're talking about Simone, if we're talking about Lucy Kovalova or Matt Wright or Joey Farias, Jennifer Lucore, Irina Terashenko, like the list goes on, right? You've got a nice.
Was there one that he missed?
Oh, is that Ben? That guy Ben. Ben gets enough attention, yeah. And
let's leave Batman out of this, okay?
Yeah, yeah. So you've got this really nice crew of people, and of course, there's the, on the playing side, they're the top level pros, and then they're also, really cool people to be around and really fun. Yeah. And so I wanted to, Ashley, you mentioned the commercials. I wonder if you could say something about what goes into making these commercials. Like, is it the kind of thing where, you have this poster board of all the different kinds of commercials you want to make over the year? Or is it like you're in the shower one day and you're like, what I should do is let's get Ben and Irina to see if they can knock a box of pickleball cocktail off of Patrick's head with a ball from 20 feet away. Like, what's the process for coming up with these commercials that everyone really enjoys watching? I mean, that's something in itself, right? That people want to watch your commercials. The process of coming up to them and then sort of going through to take that step from having this as a concept or an idea to something that actually then people watch. How do you do that?
Well, it's a good question. First, I would say the ideas do come from a lot of different places. Some of the pros have come up with the concepts for some of the videos we've done. Different people from the team have come up with different concepts, but I would say the majority actually we come up with as we're on our walks. We go on walks pretty much every day, and that's where we somehow are able to generate this creative juice. And it is just like stuff comes out once we step away from the computer, from the desk, and just get out there and just start walking. It's somehow that's where all the best ideas come from. So that's kind of our creative thing, but yeah, it just comes out of nowhere. And then it's like, okay, we're definitely doing this. Let's plan it. Let's figure it out. And yeah, it's not quite as organized as let's put out how many we need to do per month no, it's just kind of whatever happens.
Yeah. And then we see like so much of it is shot at your offices, right? Or in the warehouse, and we see your staff there. And so is that part of the hiring process when you bring in people into your team? It's not just, hey, are they really good at these specific skills related to the business? It's are they going to be great on camera? Is that something that you think about going in when you're sort of bringing on staff?
No, actually, it's funny because that's not the case at all. And I would say almost every single person that we have there have been there prior to us even doing commercials. So we've turned them into actors.
That's right.
And the good news is Corey, who is the director, our director of film, he produces these and he's a great director. So he helps kind of coach people on, okay, the delivery and how he wants it to come off. And then you add in some good lighting and just short scripts. So there's not too much talking. Yeah. That's where you get into trouble when you really aren't dealing with actors. So if you just kind of be careful with your writing of the script, you could pull it off.
Yeah, Corey is our secret weapon. He is a USC film grad, and he's also my cousin. And I hired him for an internship about 5 years ago, and I've never let him leave. And
that's about when we started doing videos too.
Yeah. So video marketing is something that has really become a core competency. Your listeners can, if they go to jigsawtv.com, it'll forward them directly to a link that has some of our favorite videos that we've made over the years. And when we were signing the pros, we did sort of say, okay, we're going to do some videos and some commercials, but we don't know exactly what we're going to do. So we signed them really without an idea of what the content was going to do. And I don't remember exactly who came up with sort of the first, like, hey, what if we did something where it was sort of like, this is Sports Center?
Yeah, our sound engineer, Ryan, actually is the one who said that. And we started to look at some of those commercials and said, oh, this is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
We can pull it off. It'll be right here in the office.
The breakthrough one was probably the Lucy Kovalova wicked backhand, not today, where she's kind of marching through the office. And we had an idea for that script when Matt and Lucy first came to town. I think it was maybe January of 2019. That sounds about right. And we're like, well, okay, we know that she's going to like go through the office and smash things because she had, we try to think of like, what is each pro kind of known for, or what is sort of a quirk about them? So Lucy, obviously an amazing two-handed backhand. We're like, well, what if she's like going around the office smashing things? And then we're like, but she needs like some sort of like catchphrase that she says. So we were like making up the catchphrases on the fly, where it's like, okay, so she smashes the poster or the welcome Irina Tereshchenko. What should she say? It's like, not today. It's like, oh, that's a good catchphrase. We should use that. So it's really a collaborative effort. The pros are so fun to work with. It's funny to actually see their evolution as actors.
Oh yeah.
Because all of them have like gotten better and better. And it's, oh gosh, it's just fun.
Well, it's great. And I mean, you said at the start is like, okay, when we first signed these pros, it was probably with the idea of like, in some ways sort of connecting with top players, and those are the reasons. And as you get to know them over time, and as parts of their personality sort of show themselves, then I'm sure that sort of sparks like, oh, hey, this person would be perfect in this kind of a role, right? Or this person would be good in that one. And and I do think it is quite remarkable when any company can make a commercial, I guess that's what we should call it, a commercial, can make a commercial that people are looking forward to watching, right? Or they'll go to your YouTube channel and like watch commercial after commercial after commercial. I know I've done that. And so I think that's a really neat thing. And, when we were watching the live streams for APP or PPA, like in the comments, it's like, oh, I love this Jigsaw commercial, right? Like, oh, Lucy's so funny, or, oh, Joey, what a guy, right? Like it's really, I think it's quite unique, not just in the pickleball world, but even sort of outside, right? That you get. And Sports Center is a nice reference, right? Because you have that kind of feel. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching an episode of The Office, right?
Totally. There's a lot of inspiration.
That kind of
there.
look. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's really neat, and I think it's it sort of goes with the tagline, right? It's fun to feel good. It's very clear that that's sort of where that's coming from when you make those videos.
That's right. I mean, our goal is, so one of our marketing mentors is named Roy H. Williams, and one of his phrases is win the mind.
No, win the heart.
Thank you. One of his phrases is win the heart and the mind will follow. And so because as pick addicts ourselves, we'd been already binge watching, 7-8 hours of pickleball on the weekends during tournaments. And one of the things that was kind of frustrating and a little annoying is when you see the same commercial over and over and over again, you're kind of like, well, I really liked that product at first, but now I'm kind of getting sick of it. I don't want to buy it because I'm sick of the commercial. And so we wanted to do commercials that were almost like little mini vignettes that would win the heart of pickleball addicts and sort of just make them say, who the heck are these Jigsaw people? And what are the products that they make? And the good news is, the products that my dad formulated, the electrolytes, the mag soothe, the pickleball cocktail, these products work really good for pickleballers. So it's not just sort of at least they're fun and funny to watch. It's like literally, the best thing is, maybe like the Las Vegas tournament. Tell about the woman that came up to the tent and was like,
oh, I mean, actually it happened several times. I was at the booth just handing out samples and talking with people that were walking by. And more than once, I want to say it was 2 or 3 times throughout this 3-day tournament, I was explaining the products to someone, and then another person would walk by and poke their head over and say, this changed my life. You have got to try it. Whether it was Mag Soothe or the electrolytes or pickleball cocktail, just people that wanted to like stop and quickly give a little blurb on what it's done for them. And that was such a special thing for me to witness, because, you know, the goal is to help people feel good, and it does, you know, and that means people can play more pickleball and have more fun. And I mean, it's such a great, I mean, we're just super blessed to be able to do it.
Goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
Yeah,
seriously.
No, I get you. It's great, and you're right. To have the product that backs up the marketing, right? And you can see that through the repeat customers and the repeat business, and like people, you know, can't wait. Like, you know, we hear from people all the time about how they can get more of the different kinds of products, or the pickleball, like the sample pack. People love that, so they get a little bit of everything. And of course now, like, you know, you have the side of the products that are really closely tied to pickleball, right? Whether it's pickleball cocktail or the electrolytes, but then there's also this whole other sort of suite of products that Jigsaw makes, and that you've had, many of which you've had before this whole pickleball thing, right? And so it's, I hear from a lot of people who are like, well, I went to jigsawhealth.com to go check out the pickleball stuff, but then I saw these other things, right? And so I end up shopping more than I was expecting to. So yeah, it's neat to hear those kinds of stories too.
Good. Yeah. I mean, look, how you take care of your body matters a lot. I think, especially in the last year, 2020, people became a lot more interested in sort of ways to build up their immune system and to just take care of themselves. And, you know, that's what we've been dedicated to since we launched the company in 2005. And it was launched based upon my dad's own need to scratch his own itch. You know, he dealt with, for 30 years off and on, with chronic recurrent challenges from, you know, low energy and anxiety, depression, insomnia, fatigue, and learned that like there wasn't just one sort of secret ingredient or one secret, you know, silver bullet to solve everything. He really needed to re-nutritionalize his body. He's a baby boomer that grew up with white bread and antibiotics, basically. And so, you know, 2 decades of that, he just basically crashed and had to remineralize, revitaminize, just kind of, you know, rebuild the gut, the lining of his gut. So, you know, it really is a passion project. And to be able to help pickleballers, the thing that I say is that, like, you know, I know how to look at one product versus another because I've learned a lot. I'm not a scientist, but I've learned a lot about the differences of like magnesium citrate versus like dimagnesium malate. Dimagnesium malate is better, by the way, and that's what we use. But it also costs more. But Dad, because he's formulating these products for himself, doesn't really care that it costs more because he wants something that he knows is going to work and work better. And he says to us, like, you guys figure out how to sell it, but this is what we're making. And I guess where I was going with that is, like, bottom line, our products are almost like a Trojan horse for pickleballers to help their whole body. So in their mind, they're like, okay, cool. This is hydration. This is fuel. This is muscle recovery. But magnesium is like so connected to how your heart functions. There's a Dr. Dennis Goodman, a cardiologist at NYU, that wrote a book called Magnificent Magnesium. And he's on our scientific advisory board. And he's been recommending magnesium to his patients for years, right? Well, you recommend something for like, hey, this is good for your heart, and people are like, maybe. But if you're like, hey, this will stop your nighttime leg cramps and help you play more pickleball, they're like, give it to me.
Right.
So, you know, I'm sort
right.
of,
That's a good way to put it. Like, you use the pickleball as sort of the excuse, right, to get into them. And it's like, oh, I'm feeling great.
Exactly.
You know what? As humans, we have to hack ourselves in one way or another. And if that's the way, then I think it works.
Yep. As Scott Adams says, we are moist robots and we can hack ourselves.
I mean,
a lot of strange references here today, right?
Normally that would be a one to end it on. But hey, I want to ask you another question. We were saying earlier you played your first pickleball tournament, or like one of your first pickleball tournaments. You got the gold medal, and it's sort of unique, right? I hear a lot of stories of people who are couples who then are also mixed doubles partners, right? Or you see a lot of examples of people who are couples and who maybe work together, right? They've got a family business or something like that. You don't typically find people who have kind of like three connections, right? They're together as a couple, they play pickleball as a team, and they work together at the same time, right? And so I'm wondering, that's sort of a unique position to be in, and I'm wondering if you can say something, either of you, about like what's that like, and do you try to compartmentalize those things, so whatever goes on at the office stays at the office and doesn't come to the pickleball court, or whatever's going on at home doesn't come to the office? Like, do you try to compartmentalize? Do you just realize it's all going to overflow anyway? Like, how do you sort of manage that triad of work and personal and pickleball?
Well, we do not compartmentalize, because everything does flow over into it's, one flows into the next and the next. We
are dangerously codependent.
Dangerously codependent. Also happily codependent. But if there are issues in any of the departments, ironically, most of the little spats have happened in pickleball since we started playing as teammates, and they've pretty much gone away after we got some very valuable advice. Well, actually, Patrick got some very valuable advice from Simone, and ever since he started to heed that advice, we are doing great. Patrick,
should I tell him what that is?
What was the advice? Don't leave us hanging.
Simone says, "Shut up, Patrick. Don't say anything."
She said, if Ashley hits a bad shot, do not say a word. If she hits a great shot, you can encourage her. Absolutely. Tell her great job. But do not say anything when she hits a bad shot. And I'm like, thank you. That's great. I mean,
well,
problem solved.
Look, bottom line is I'm just incredibly lucky that Ashley decided to marry her stalker.
That's true.
It's just so much more convenient. The legal battles are so much easier to deal with.
Well, I mean, it is great, and I think it comes through, when we see you in the commercials, like singing or playing the music or whatever,
or spilling things.
Spilling things. Yeah, I noticed a lot of that spilling happens when Ben is around. It seems like extra spilling. But, hey, I think that I think you have the kernel of a commercial in the future there, where Simone is on the court coaching you two as you're playing, maybe spitting out these little pearls of wisdom. There we go.
A lot of couples probably need to hear, actually.
There we go. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It could be a good one.
That's a great idea.
Seems like I'm not going to have many lines in this one. Which is fine.
So Simone makes her own little penalty box that she sends you to every time you can't keep your mouth closed.
I love that.
Ashley says, I'd rather play on the court by myself than you have a little timeout over there. Anyway, I'm no director. Idea, I'm sure Corey can put something together for you.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah. Hey, this has been a real pleasure for me. You've been really generous with your time. Thanks for coming on the show today. I really hope to see you again in person soon, hopefully toward the end of the summer, when I'll be back traveling again, and we can get together in person, which would be really nice for me.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to hearing you on broadcasts again and seeing you. Could we end on the story of how we met you?
Oh yeah, you know what? I was thinking as we were talking, I was like, man, I should have started with that. And I thought, you know what? I'll put it in the podcast like earlier. I'll tell the story or in the video. Yeah, I mean, do you want to tell it from your perspective, or should I would love?
Yeah, I would love to. Well, maybe I'll go first and then you go next. So here we were, Nationals 2019 at beautiful Indian Wells Center Court, and you've got the one and only Mark Renneson in the booth doing the commentary. And I kept having Ashley and I was like, hey, let's go sit up by the booth. She's like, well, it's a little bit further away from the court. I'm like, yeah, but then we can hear Mark talk and we can hear about what's going on the court, because I don't know that I really know yet. So we just kind of got to know you offhandedly.
We sat in the same
because we
seats,
just sat in the same seats for like 5 days in a row or something. It was great.
Yeah. So my perspective on that is similar, but a little bit different. I would be in that booth, and as you may remember, the way that I typically run the broadcast booth at the big tournaments is like, I like to have a little bit of a rotating, like revolving door, right? And so when we have someone like Simone, who's going to come and join us and provide like a little bit of analysis, or Lee and Annalie Waters, or whoever it might be that's sort of helping me on the booth, I like to sort of mix it up. And so we'd have these different people, and each person I would say, I was like, see those people down there? See those two people? They keep getting closer and closer and closer and every day. And like, I don't understand. They could be sitting closer to the courts. They're like choosing to sit in the sun instead of in the shade. Like what's going on? And then we did eventually talk. And I can't remember whether you first said something to me or I said something to you. And, but yeah, it makes sense. You know what it reminds me of is when people go to like baseball games. That's a common one where they go to baseball games, but then they'll listen to the radio broadcast in their ear at the same time, right? Because it's a different kind of experience. And especially if you're, at that time, relatively new in the pickleball world, still trying to figure things out, then having that kind of analysis is helpful. It's almost like going to like an art gallery or a museum and getting sort of a guided tour, as opposed to just wandering around and like noticing that there's a whole bunch of cool stuff, but not really understanding much of it, right? So
Mark Renneson, I the pickleball docent. Right?
I don't know what docent
right.
No one does. It's a cool word though.
But it does sound nice, the docent.
It sure does.
Yeah. Anyway, that could be another commercial here. The pickleball docent.
Oh my!
Can't wait.
We got two new commercials coming up.
This podcast is a gold mine.
It sure is.
All right. Well, I do hope to see you later this summer. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. Keep doing what you're doing. I know you've got some new and exciting things in the works that I'm sure people will be keen to find out about over the coming months.
Including a new flavor of Electrolyte Supreme, Fruit Punch, coming out in just a few months. In June. Okay. So yeah.
It's awesome. Best yet.
Best flavor yet. So we're pretty excited about that one.
All right, you keep them coming, and we'll be sure to we'll link to what should we link to? We should link to the website jigsawhealth.com. We should link to the YouTube channel where people can see all of the great videos and commercials you have. I really enjoy Funny Friday, right? Where we get new things that come out. And is there anywhere else that we should make sure that we direct people so they can see some of the great things that you're all doing?
If you go to jigsawpickleball.com, you'll end up on a landing page that gives you a 5-day sample pack of the Jigsaw hydration stack for $15. It's the 3-packet-a-day fuel in the morning with pickleball cocktail, while you're playing hydrate with Electrolyte Supreme, and then recover with Mag Soothe. So it's a total of 15 packets for $15. It's a 5-day supply, and Ashley will cover the cost of shipping for you.
I will.
There you go. Maybe she'll even deliver it by hand. Can you imagine?
You never know.
Another commercial idea. There we go. Ashley shows up at your door, ringing the doorbell. It'd be great.
I love it.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to need a faster car.
Yeah, we'll send people to all those websites. Thanks again. It's a real treat for me. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Mark.
See
you soon.
Okay. All right, thanks for watching. What a treat it was for me to talk with Patrick and Ashley. Just a reminder, if you use the promo code PB3SS10 when you're shopping at jigsawhealth.com, you'll save yourself $10. What a great deal. Go to jigsawhealth.com.